All right, what's up, Hurricane fans? How are we feeling today? It's Monday. We're 7-1. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty good right now. Whoever thought we were going to be competing for national titles or anything like that after a 6-7 season last year is out of their minds. There's a process to this thing. We're getting there. 7-1. If you told me in the offseason at this point, 8 games in, we're going to be 7-1, and the lone loss is to Clemson, I'd be like, yeah, I think that's right where we should be. By the way, guys, if you like these videos, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. I'm going to be doing these every week, a preview for the upcoming opponent and also a post-game recap like I'm doing today for the Virginia Tech game. So please share it with your friends. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell. That way you get notified every time I drop a video. All right, so first off, I got to address the breaking news that just broke a little while ago. Miami's next 2 home games, unfortunately, will be rescheduled for right now. The Georgia Tech game will be rescheduled for December 19th. UNC will be rescheduled for December 12th, and December 5th is when the Wake Forest game will happen. So a lot of things being moved around, games being pushed back because there was some positive test results that happened within the Miami program. Obviously, guys need to quarantine for a while, and this sucks. This was kind of the little ticking time bomb we were waiting for. That's kind of happened with, I don't want to say every team, but it's happened with a lot of teams this year in college football. And hopefully speeding recoveries for everybody. Hopefully it's not serious. Obviously, safety is more important than anything for these guys. So hopefully they get better soon. It's nothing serious. And, we can bounce back quick and get back to playing football. Now, as for the Virginia Tech game, like most games lately, at times we looked great and at times we looked awful. The defense, we'll get to the negatives in a second, but the positives, there were a lot of positives to speak of. From late third quarter on, they really stepped up big again. So they've been stepping up when it matters. A few guys I got to give a shout out to. Jalen Phillips, first of all, monster game. He had 9 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. And again, he got held 2 or 3 times and it didn't get called. But it's not ever going to get called. It is what it is. He's going to have to deal with that guy lining up in front of him and the refs as well. But hey, he's a Cane. We come to expect that. Gilbert Frierson, very quietly, a great game. He's been consistently our best defender all season. 8 total tackles, 2 sacks. Sam Brooks made the start Saturday. 7 total tackles, half a sack. He played great. Never looked lost out there. Nesta Silvera, another clutch play in the fourth quarter, came up with, I believe it was a sack on Hendon Hooker. So again, Nesta, very clutch. I gotta mention this guy as well, Bradley Jennings. He's slowly improved with every passing week. I was very critical of him early in the season. I know most Hurricane fans were, but he has really, little by little, improved. As the season's gone on, this inactivity of not playing last year because of his injury really set him back, but now he's gotten his timing back little by little. So I look for Bradley Jennings to continue to improve and add depth to this team and experience, which at that position we desperately needed. Let's see, what are the positives? Wide receivers continuing to step up. No receiver had a monster game, I don't think. D. Wiggins probably had the closest thing to that. He had over 100 yards receiving. He dropped a slant that, if he caught it with his speed, he'd probably still be running. That should have been a touchdown or at least a huge gain and put us maybe in the red zone. And he didn't haul it in. It's those little mistakes, those little lack of focus mistakes that if we're capitalizing on those opportunities, I think we're pulling away in these games more. So we can't put it all on the coaches, can't put it all on Blake Baker, although, there are times that they can be criticized. For example, that fake field goal in the first drive. I like the aggressiveness, but there was no need for it. You could have taken an easy 3 points or gone for it on 4th and short. Either way, we should have scored on that drive. But I digress. These players really have to make these plays and, stop making these lack of focus, just mistakes that shouldn't be happening. So that's it for the well. That's not it for the offense. I got to mention De'Ara King. Again, not a huge monster game like he had against NC State, but did enough to win. He willed us to victory with his leadership like he always does, even though he was getting pounded by Virginia Tech's defensive line. DJ Scaife, I mean, most of those sacks were his fault. I don't know what's going on with him this year, but he has not played well all season. He's looked bad. And with all these linemen on the COVID list before the game started, you had nobody to switch him out with, so he had to stay in there. So that's where the lack of depth and these 13 players being out really hurt us. You couldn't make the substitutions when you want to. So anyway, I digress. Those are the positives. Now for some of the negatives. It seems like every week a new group, a position group on defense wants to take their turn being bad that day. A few weeks ago, the linebacking core had a terrible game. Last week against NC State, the corners looked terrible. This game, it was the safeties. Bubba Bolden, I don't know where his head's been at. An interception went right through his hands. That would have been huge in that moment to make a stop for us. Whiffed on a tackle on Hendon Hooker that ended up being their first touchdown and got them going. And then, of course, you had the boneheaded penalty after Jalen Phillips got a sack that would have put him at 3rd and forever and would have given us the ball back. That was during our comeback. I believe we were down by 5 at the time. We ended up making the stop anyway, but still, that's a penalty that could have easily led to a Virginia Tech long drive and a score. And then we might not have won that game. So I say it every week, we have to eliminate these penalties. I don't know what they have to do. Again, with 13 players out, you can't make the subs and the rotations that you want to, so you can't tell a guy to sit on the bench after he's made a dumb mistake. You don't have anybody else. He's got to stay out there. So hopefully that's not going to be a problem moving forward. Hopefully we're at full strength again, and these guys can start being held accountable. Also, I think those mistakes, the drops, the penalties, it's still a lack of maturity that I think is in this locker room. I think that's still an issue on this team. Don't confuse that for it being a lack of fight and a lack of will to win. This team doesn't quit. They always think they're in the game, and they always believe that they can win, and they never stop fighting, which I like, and it's shown. But there's still a lack of maturity there that I want to see, ironed out. Remember, we didn't have an off season, and that's where a lot of that tutelage and a lot of that mentorship happens. It happens on Green Tree practice field in the spring, in the summer, in that hot sun. That's where these guys are really broken down and really, that's you used to hear it back in the 90s and 2000s. Practice used to be the hardest part of the week, and the game was easy. We didn't get the benefit of that this year in the off season, so hopefully next year that's not an issue, but installing that culture that Manny wants to install, it is going to take a little extra time, but I think little by little he is getting there. I think that's pretty much it. Again, defense was bending, but it didn't break, which was great. I do want to mention this. I don't want to hear about any juniors or any redshirt sophomores even hinting that they want to declare for the draft this year. Now that I've seen 8 games of this team, there's a lot of talent on this team, but it's a lot of still uncultivated talent. A lot of things need to be fine-tuned, and I don't think these guys are quite ready yet for that stage. And certain things still need to be ironed out. Even a guy like Jalen Phillips, who had a monster game, he may come out next week and lay a goose egg. You never know. It's still that level of unpredictability with this team. I need to see guys like him, guys like obviously Will Mallory, guys like Bubba Bolden, that are the talents there. I need to see them stay another year. They need that. I know we dropped 3 spots in the rankings, and I know Kane's Twitter kind of freaked out when that happened, and I get it. It was a little bit of disrespect that we're one of the few teams that consistently get that W and win and stay ranked in the top 10. And for whatever reason, we dropped 3 spots all of a sudden in a road game that we were favored to lose. I think we were 2-point underdogs or 1.5-point underdogs against a team that's traditionally a rival of ours. And we come out and win. I don't think that's a situation where we should drop 3 spots. But then again, 12, I think, is right around where we should have been anyways to begin with. So can't be too mad at it. Really, I don't care about the rankings. I'll be honest. I don't care about the rankings. As long as we keep getting those wins and we get that 10-1, then, the rankings will take care of itself. And it's very doable. We're 8 games in and there's only 3 games to go, and they are all winnable games. So I think we can do this. We can finish strong. All right. So anyways, that's it for me. As always, it's all about the U. Go Canes.